If I could give you 3 top tips, the first tip would be about getting a good butcher, knowing where your meat has come from via asking them, and if they know, then that's always a good sign. If not, it's about knowing about the cuts that they do, and knowing what process the meat's been through, like how long it's been aged, for example. Personally, I've had the best experience with small producers that have their own livestock, because you can ask for really interesting cuts of meat that you wouldn't necessarily use, or a good premium butcher close to the source.
The closer to the source of production they are, the better, really. I mean, that's partly why it's best to buy local, not because British meat's better necessarily, but the closer they are to the slaughterhouse, the more care they've taken over their meat, and the more choice you've got as a buyer over what cuts you get. Because say if they get in a whole forequarter of a cow, they can do what you want with it. But if they're buying in fairly anonymous bits of meat from New Zealand, then you've got very little choice over what you actually get. You can ask him what is cheap, what he's got, what's a good cut for what you want it for.
Yeah, that's it.
For steaks, for example, people tend to just kind of go for fillet if they've got money, or sirloin, or rump steak, or which are good cuts, obviously, but they're quite a lot of money.
Instead of buying the premium cuts of a cheaper animal, buy the cheaper cuts of a more
better quality animal. Yeah, it's a very good way of getting into buying better meat, or to be using a more expensive butcher, is to, instead of getting a fillet from the supermarket, to go to your butcher and get a decent, well-hung piece of blade steak or something. It's cheaper for you, but it's better quality.
And you need less of it because the flavour is so much better. In terms of getting protein into your diet, I would say it's important to rediscover some pulses that might not have been fashionable for a while, some ancient grains. We use a lot of nuts and seeds, lots of cheese, because if you're eating healthy, that means you can eat more cheese, which is always a good thing. We also use a lot of eggs. For our meat-free week dish, we have done shakshuka, which is baked eggs in a tomato pepper sauce, where the protein comes from the eggs, and it's really nice to eat for breakfast or for lunch or for supper.
Okay, so this just starts off with a very simple vegetable stew. So we've got some onions, some garlic, a few green peppers, red peppers and tomatoes in here. Just let those cook down in olive oil for quite a long time so they're really nice and soft and start to get some colour on them. And then after they're getting soft, you can throw in a few spices. And here we've got paprika, Turkish pepper flakes or sumac, some nigella seeds, but you can kind of throw in anything you want really. You can make it more Spanish, we've got some more smoked paprika and chili, or kind of make it more Middle Eastern with cumin. It's a very adaptable dish, which is why it's so good for things like this. And then once that's cooked down for a long time, you add more tomatoes, tin tomatoes, or lots of fresh tomatoes. And stir those through, let that really collapse, and you get this really nice kind of thick red vegetable stew. But for this dish in particular, what you need to do is put some of your stew in a pan, just a couple of ladles full. Get that nice and hot so it's bubbling away, and then break in just a couple of eggs, 1 per person, 2 per person, depending on what you want, and let that bake in the oven for 15-20 minutes or so until it's nicely set. So when it's out of the oven, the eggs are cooked to your liking. We finish it off with a few spices, some chili flakes, some pepper flakes, some paprika, some cumin, some sumac and nigella seeds, with a nice dollop of our own homemade labneh, which is a strained fresh yoghurt cheese mixed with garlic and other spices, and then with some flatbreads on the side as well. But obviously you can make it as simple or as complicated as you like at home.